Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Jackson. I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak. Hopefully, you're hearing me clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, so I was just here listening to Mr. Jackson doing the introduction, and I was like, I totally forgot about some of those things. um, but that's probably a good thing, always forward thinking. But so Mr. Jackson already did an introduction, but I just want to start off my presentation by telling you a little bit about who I am. So outside of the accomplishments. So I'm Damor McQueen. I'm a rural youth from a small community called Middleton in St. Thomas, Jamaica, a really close-knit community. So I know that when persons now hear about Damor McQueen, they would perhaps think about some of those accomplishments that would have been mentioned. So being head boy at my school, being student council president, being youth mayor for my parish, and a number of other accomplishments. But what many might not know, though, is the story that led up to all of that success, being an author, for example. So the reality is that my mother died when I was about, well, 2 years old, right? And during that same period, my father's hand was mutilated, right? So my father was disabled from that whole period. So that's the context in which I grew up in. Of course, I had an amazing support system. So my grandmother was there. My grandmother was an educator. She's a retired educator of 29 years. So she was teaching at the basic school level. So I like to boast that I have been going to school basically all my life. So I just wanted to put all of the success in context. And all of that, no matter how tragic it might sound, would have led me to this moment and would have led to all of the successes, right? So support system has always been big for me in helping me navigate my journey, so youth development and so on. So I would have mentioned my grandmother. So my family is a major part of my support system. But over the years, I would have met people who became instrumental in my success. Mr. Jackson, for example, was one of those individuals at Warwick Bay High School, right? So one of the things that I love to tell young people now is to find yourself as a support system. Find people who can basically help you achieve success and help you on your journey towards greatness. I'll talk a little bit about my book towards the end of my presentation, but one of the rules in my book, so the title of my book is Rewriting the Rules of Success. So basically, all the chapters, you won't see chapter, you would see rules. So rule number one, rule number two. And one of the rules in the book is to get yourself a support system, because I really do believe that a support system is very important in helping you achieve success and greatness. And if you were to look back over your lives, for example, I'm sure that you can think about at least one to a few people who were instrumental and helped you navigate your life's journey. So I do believe that a support system is very important. So let me talk a little bit about my leadership journey. So my leadership journey really started really early, right? I don't have much memory about my basic school days, as we call it in Jamaica. But I do remember my primary school and my high school years vividly. So I was actually head boy in primary school as well. So I was involved in the national spelling bee competition and so on. In fact, perhaps one of the few, if not the only young man to be as involved as I was. And I say this to say that for me, though my life sometimes seemed as though I was the odd one out, well, many times it felt that way, I'd say that it has paid off. And so another rule in the book is to don't run with the herd. So that's another rule. In fact, that's my first rule in the book. Don't run with the herd. I know that for many young people, it is so very easy to fit in and want to conform and so on. But I think it actually pays to, try your own path and want to be different and do your own thing, right? Even though sometimes being different can be very isolating, I must admit, right? You might be put in the weird column, as I said in the book, right? But it really does pay off, because what's the point of being a member of a gang if you're gonna die eventually, right? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't pay off, right? So I think being different is very important, even though it might be isolating. So yeah. So I know I would have spoken about my successes; those would have been mentioned. But I want to pause here to say that there are many more Damor McQueens out there. I know that there's a Damor McQueen in front of you speaking now, but there are so many more youth with similar potential who perhaps don't have some of the opportunities that I would have had. Thankfully, I was able to have an amazing support system despite the death of my mom and the disability of my father and so on. But there are many more. One of the realizations for me when I was accepted to York University on a partial scholarship was, I started to think about my community back home, and I noticed that there are so many youth who are as educated or in a similar position, but who would not have had those opportunities, right? And so I think, and so before I left to Jamaica, I sat down with one of my teachers, and I remember her saying to me, uh, basically, to whom much is given, much is required. I'm not sure if you've ever heard that saying, but that really stuck out to me, because for me, I now felt as though I had a responsibility to lift others up as well, because I would have been given much, really, and on my journey to success. So one of the things that I like to say now is that I seek to lift as I climb. So that's important for me, because I've been given much, as I would have said before. So there are many more out there. We just need to find them. We just need to help nurture them. We just need to help them achieve success and greatness, because there's so much untapped potential. There's so much untapped potential, not just in Jamaica, the wider Caribbean, the world, right? Um, so how do I seek to do this? And I'll basically end off with just a few points here. So in 2017, I founded the Bumpy Purpose campaign. It's now the Bumpy Purpose Foundation. So in 2017, as I still do today, but not as much, I guess. So I've always struggled with acne, right? And it was always depressing. Like, it was just an unfortunate situation for me. And I sometimes felt down, and I had a self-esteem issue surrounding my acne. And there was this one particular morning in 2017 while on my way to school. I still remember the bus that I was on. I still remember everything, because it was one of those pivotal moments. And I was overthinking about the acne. And in that moment, I heard, the many bumps on your face represents the many lives you should impact. And so in 2017, and in that moment, the Bumpy Purpose campaign, now foundation, was formed to basically uplift youth. So we provide mentorship support, we host a number of events to help students prep for university and so on. So why I share that as well is because I feel as though this entire journey is much bigger than me. I feel as though I'm so positioned to lift others up, as I've said before. I don't think it's by coincidence that I'm going to York University. I would have gotten a partial scholarship and been exposed to a new environment and so on. And my horizon has been expanded. I feel as though that is an opportunity to, again, lift others up as well. So the Bumpy Purpose Foundation is one way in which I seek to do that. And another way in which I'm seeking to do that is it hasn't, well, we haven't had the first staging as yet, but I'm basically in planning stage. But I'm thinking about what I'm going to call the Youth Excel Success Summit. So yes, Youth Excel Success Summit. And what I seek to do here is to basically train and prepare the next generation of youth leaders. So it would be an annual event, but it's not one of those events where people just come for a day, young people just come for a day, and it's done. So there are basically two phases to it. So it's that one day, where we have a gathering of young people, mentors, and so on. So we focus on financial areas to achieve success in, as well as non-financial areas. So like the job market, getting ready, and so on. But the other phase to it, which is more long-term, is a mentorship aspect to it. So students would have enrolled in the program, and then they have access to these mentors for a year until we have the next staging. And then at the next staging, or leading up to the next staging, they would basically graduate, right, from the program. So that's the Youth Excel Success Summit. Because as I said before, I feel as though this journey is much bigger than me. And I'm open to you joining and coming along on this journey as well. And let me just end off with my book. So my book is the third way I seek to do that. So I wrote my book last year, was published in December of last year. And one of the things that I wanted to do, well, one, I wanted to leave a legacy. I wanted something to exist that basically outlived me, right? And secondly, I also wanted to help youth position themselves for success. I feel as though when we're in our 20s, when we're youth and when we're young people, we feel as if we have all the time in the world. And I know that sometimes we're told that we have all the time in the world, but I really don't believe we have all the time in the world. So one of the things that I wanted to do with the book was to send certain messages. And one of the overall theme of the book is to basically take action now. So those big dreams that you have, why not take action now? How can you position yourself for success? So what support systems can you lean into? What opportunities can you seek from now to position yourself for success? So when I actually went to Jamaica in February, and one of the things that I did through the guidance of my book coach was to host a handover event. So what I did was to invite high schools in the parish, and I donated copies of my book to high schools as well as to the parish library in my home parish, St. Thomas. Because again, I feel as though this entire journey is much bigger than me. And it's about impact and leaving a lasting legacy. I'm not going to deny that, of course, you publish a book and you want to make money too. but a much bigger picture for me is leaving that legacy and creating that impact, leaving that lasting legacy. And I'll close with just 4 rules from my book. So there are 16 rules in the book, but I chose 4 specifically just to give you an idea as to what's in the book. So I would have mentioned, don't run with the herd. That's the first rule in the book. So embracing your difference, embracing your own identity. And let me just say here too, I've noticed that in fact many of the readers are not the intended audience. It's like older persons are catching on to it and loving the story as well. So it's them. So the impact is even greater than I thought, so that's really good. Another rule is be your own CEO. And I know that everybody knows what a CEO is, but you might be wrong, because it's not it's not chief executive officer. For me, CEO means chief encouragement officer. Because yes, I kind of made that up. Because in life, I have noticed, I'm just 24, but I've grown to notice that there are moments when you're going to need to be your own encourager. There are moments when you're going to have to look yourself in the mirror and basically remind yourself of who you are. There are moments when you will have to uplift yourself. So I'm saying to young people, be your own encouragement officer. It's good to get it from YouTube, it's good to get it from Instagram, but sometimes late in the nights when you're alone, you're going to need to remind yourself of who you are and stand strong. So yeah, be your own CEO. My third rule is don't let the tough times fool you. This is another one which is related to what I said before, because there are going to be tough times. There are going to be up times, down times, and I'm sure that you all can relate to that. It's just a part of life and a part of the journey. So don't let the tough times fool you. So challenges are inevitable, but try to persevere beyond the challenges. And the last rule I'll leave with you, and this is the final rule in the book, is don't wait to be great. Don't wait to be great. So do that big thing now. So that big idea, do it now. I said in the book, many young people might love a Beyonce, they might love Usain Bolt or whoever the biggest celebrity is for them. But I guarantee that they didn't start, they started early, even if it was just doing small things, the preparation. But that's the thing about success. Success just seems to be in this moment, or seems as though it just happened, but it's steps to success, right? So start early. That's what I'm saying to young people. Do big things now, even if it's in a small way. So I'll end with that. There are many more Damor McQueens out there, and we're trying to lift them up as well. And thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you. Thanks.
Damor, thank you. I needed your message today. Don't count out us white hairs. We have things to learn too. And I was inspired by your message more than I can tell you. I have already purchased your book. I will read it, and I will either purchase another copy to have directly mailed to our 15-year-old granddaughter. I'll probably do that because I don't want to spend the shipping fee, right? So I'll give you 2 copies of the books, and we'll spread your message, Mr. Bumpy Purpose Foundation. I love it. That is just wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Damor, you mentioned you talked about the importance of the support system, and like you, I have written a book. It was just for my family. I didn't publish it to the public. But in that book, I talk quite a bit about mentorship and the fact that much of my success was due to having good mentors. So I agree wholeheartedly with what you said. Now, I don't know if you know, but our club is a cause-based club, and we support the Listomere Gilby High School for the Deaf in Jamaica. And deaf children in Jamaica face much larger challenges than the average youth. And so my question to you is kind of a curveball question, but listening to you talk about empowering youth and encouraging youth, to follow the rules, do these same rules, do you think, apply to deaf students, young deaf men and women, or is there some way that your rules can be modified to apply more to the deaf, because they face huge challenges?
Certainly, I think it definitely applies, and perhaps in some cases, even especially for them. And why I say that is because one of the rules in my book is to leverage underestimation. And I feel as though because of their disability, they might be underestimated. Not might, they're underestimated.
Yeah,
and they're in a unique position to seize opportunities, to basically achieve success and greatness. Why? Because underestimation can be a good thing. It's all about perspective. Because underestimation sometimes means that, perhaps not much is expected of you, which means that you can work behind the scene, you can work on your project, your initiatives, and so on, and just basically pop out at, and be like, here you go, So I feel as though it's an opportunity as well. And regardless of disabilities, the rules certainly apply. Yeah.
Thank you.
We absolutely cannot make any promises now, but after we've had a chance to look at the book and we've perhaps given it to the school administration to review, if we wanted to purchase more than one book for the school library, is there a way to do it through a bookseller in Jamaica, or do we just go through Amazon?
Uh, so I could get I have copies in St. Thomas, specifically in a bookstore, but I'm working on getting copies in other stores. But as the author of the book, what I have the ability to do is to basically order in bulk. So that's also a possibility.
Yep. So we'll investigate this. Obviously, Howard Jackson has your contact information. And so again, we will need to vet this ourselves and then pass it by school administration. But I think your story is very likely to be impactful for these students based on our interaction with them. I think that you said, I didn't capture your words correctly, but take advantage of the underestimation.
Yeah.
We saw that. We were hit up against our face with that, as the students said, just in conversation with the students. So yes, I think that your messages would be well received.
Thank you. Yeah, certainly.
Thank you. I have a comment. May I speak?
Yep.
Hi, is it Damor?
Yes.
First, I want to say thank you for such an inspiring presentation. And also, I will sanction your word, as you said, the CEO. There is such a thing in the Bible. It says, "To whom much is given, much
Much
is
is required.
expected," and that's
Yeah.
in Luke. It's in Luke 12:48. That is a mantra of mine over the years, because when you are blessed with many things, you
Yeah.
are expect to share it with others. And if you have the type of gratitude, you're always feeling the need to want to give back, to want to empower, to want to build, to want to impart. So I think you're on the right path. And your upbringing does not really determines where you're going in life. And when you have
Yes.
your motivation, that's very inspiring. So I want to say thank you, and you're going to be great. You're going to be great, and greatness going to come forth as you go along. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I have a comment too. Is it okay
Sure.
to speak? Yes, Damar. My name is Adela Gillespie, and I too am from St. Thomas. I just wish to
Okay.
say to you, thank you. So, yeah, I'm from Richmond Vale. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Okay.
It's west, yeah. But just want to say I was really positively blown away by your accomplishment and also the things that you have in place, to really motivate others, motivate.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that you had mentioned that, the demographic in terms of the book, it has reached other that you probably did not expect. And as an older person, and yes, I'm very, very old more, I have gotten so much from your presentation this morning. So I just want to say thank you very much and continue to soar.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have one,
I have
Demar.
another.
Just was curious, like what your next steps are. Are you almost finished college, and then do you have a clear picture of what comes immediately next? Or
Well, yes. So I actually have a few months left. So I graduate in October. So yeah. So I have two options. I'm looking at two options. So I'm thinking about going to work immediately. So ideally in government. But lately I've been thinking about doing my master's immediately after. So I'm currently doing my research and looking into that as well. But ideally, working afterwards.
I would, it just occurred to me, you need to investigate something called the Rotary Peace Fellowship. You would not qualify for it at all right now. It is intended for those individuals that are established in their career. So perhaps I think you have to have worked professionally for at least 3 years. But this is a master's based program. There are 7 centers around the world. You cannot go to one in your own country. So there isn't a center in Jamaica. So you could go to the one that's at Duke and UNC in North Carolina. And the master's program there is in peace and conflict resolution. It often is targeted towards governmental workers, as well as it tends to go also for healthcare workers. But this may be a superb fit for you just a little bit further down the road.
Yeah, certainly. It sounds good. I'll definitely do some research. That's up my alley.
Any other questions or comments before we move along?
I
about-
guess I have one more off the wall question, perhaps. You mentioned, you were head boy. You mentioned your support system. I too was head boy long time ago. But head boys tend to be academically very successful, which I think can attract mentors. So is it more difficult, do you think, for the average student who doesn't have your academic intellectual abilities to find that support system, to make connections? I mean, is there an advantage in being well educated? I'm just curious.
There's definitely an advantage, if I'm being honest, and that's one of the, I think one of the the disadvantages of the education system sometimes, the focus on the academics and the most advanced students. So I really do think that it's also a matter of seeking out those mentors and those and that support system as well, because I wouldn't say I'm the most academically inclined or advanced individual. One of the things that has helped me over the years is being intentional about what I want. So, for example, one of my mentors, Miss Tishana Mullings, I know Mr. Jackson will know Miss Mullings. So she became a key individual in my life, but I would have met her many years earlier while in primary school, and we would have lost contact. But what I did was to basically reconnect with her. So I was intentional about reconnecting with her, and she has been an important, a pivotal, she has been instrumental to my journey. So the point that I'm trying to make is that, yes, sometimes it can be, students can be at a disadvantage because they are perhaps not academically inclined, but I also think that there is a level of personal responsibility and drive that comes with that as well. So intentionality, I'd say as well. But I do agree that it can be a disadvantage.
So I've got to say, I've met Tishana Mullins. And,
oh, really?
You have a very powerful support system.
Thank you. Yeah, amazing.
Well, we have all been blown away by your presentation, Damor. I think without question, and you have received so many accolades of your young life. This will certainly not be among the top. I'm actually not sure what I'm sharing. If you guys seeing the certificate? Okay,
yes.
This will certainly not be among your highest achievements in life, but hopefully when you print this out and put it on your wall, you will think of us and know that you have inspired us deeply. So we're very grateful for your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot.
Okay, thank you. You are excused, or you are welcome to hang around if you would like, whatever suits your schedule.
Miss Marie, before the Damor leave, let me say to you, the Rotary Certificate of Appreciation is very much important, especially in your career growth, because I am currently building my portfolio. And all of these things are accomplishment, really make a big impact on your portfolio. And it can even allow you and help you get some additional credits if you are on your low scores. So these things along your life experience and achievement, they are very important, sometime beyond your imagination.
Definitely, because one of the first things I was planning on doing as well is to make a post about with the certificate. So I appreciate it. It's a big deal for me.
Yes.
So Howard, while we are still on this call, if you can multitask, just send him the certificate so he's got it right now. We've already created it, so we'll get that to you. That just reminded me of one other thing, and then we will go on to the club business. Are several levels of Rotary. There's a level in high school. There's also a level in college and young adults in the community. That's called Rotaract. So you might check out Rotaract wherever you are. It used to be that you had to be, well, actually, you're probably old enough even in the back of the day. But in any case, you are also eligible by your age to be a Rotarian. And so that is another way for you to create intentionally connections with professionals. So I would encourage you to check out both Rotaract clubs and Rotary clubs in wherever it is that you find yourself next.
Oh yes, definitely. I'm gonna do some research. I've been taking notes, so I'll
Great.
definitely connect.
And we'll be happy to help you make those
Thank
connections
you.
if we can.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
So, okay, so we're going to move along to club business. I'm going to reshare again if I can figure out what I'm doing.
Okay. I'm going to log off. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. Wonderful to meet
Appreciate
you.
it.
And
Thank you.
we look forward to continuing to hear about you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Amen. Awesome.